Have you ever noticed how exhausting it is to live for the eyes of others? You smile not because you feel joy, but because you hope someone will approve. You hold back tears not because you are strong, but because you fear being judged as weak. A single harsh comment lingers for days, while 100 words of encouragement fade before you even fall asleep. If you know that feeling, you are not alone. This is not weakness, it is conditioning. From childhood, we were trained to perform for others. A smile from a parent meant you are good. A bad grade meant you are not enough. A raised eyebrow from a stranger made us shrink even when we did nothing wrong. Slowly, we built a prison made not of walls, but of opinions. Today, I want to walk with you out of that prison, not into arrogance, not into I don't care about anyone, but into a gentler, freer way of living. A life guided not by fear of judgment, but by wisdom, compassion, and authenticity. This is where Buddhist teachings on letting go shine. They don't tell us to reject the world, but to see through it. To see that opinions, whether praise or blame, are like the wind. They blow, they pass, but they do not define us. Stay with me. By the end of this teaching, you'll not only understand why opinions control us, but also how to loosen their grip, step by step, with ancient wisdom, modern reflection, and practical exercises you can apply today. Number 1, why do we care so much? At the root, caring about opinions is not evil, it's deeply human. We are social beings. Long ago, survival meant belonging. To be excluded from the tribe was a death sentence. And so our nervous system evolved to equate approval with safety. Imagine a small puppy. Each time it does something playful, it looks back at its owner for a smile, a pat, or a treat. If the owner turns away, the puppy's tail drops. Isn't this how we are with people's approval? Wagging our tails when praised, shrinking when ignored. This pattern follows us into adulthood. We call it social conditioning. Buddhism calls it clinging, the attachment to being seen in a certain way. Approval is not the problem, dependency is. When your worth rises and falls on what others think, you hand over the keys of your happiness. Take a journal. Write down 3 situations in the last week where someone's opinion, spoken or unspoken, shook your mood. Then ask, if this person never existed, would my worth still be intact? The answer is always yes. This reflection is the first crack in the prison wall. Number 2, the illusion of self. Why do opinions hurt so much? Because they poke at something fragile, the idea of me. The Buddha taught anatta non-self, not that we don't exist, but that what we call self is not solid. It is like a river, always flowing, never the same twice. Think of a mirror with a crack. When you look in, the image is distorted, but you believe it is real and you rush to defend it. That is what we do with our ego. Someone says, "You're lazy," and we scramble to defend the cracked image. Someone says, "You're brilliant," and we cling tightly, terrified of losing it. But when you see clearly, this self is not permanent. The insults cut less deeply and the praise intoxicates less sweetly. It's all directed at a shifting river, not a rock. You are not the story people tell about you. You are not even the story you tell about yourself. You are a process unfolding moment by moment. Sit quietly for 5 minutes. Ask yourself, who am I right now? Watch the answers shift. I'm tired, I'm hopeful, I'm anxious, I'm calm. See how fluid identity is. This simple practice loosens the grip of opinions. Number 3, the 8 worldly winds. Buddhism speaks of the 8 worldly winds, gain and loss, praise and blame, pleasure and pain, fame and obscurity. They blow through every life. No one escapes them. Picture a great oak tree. Storms rage, winds howl, yet the tree remains rooted. Leaves may scatter, branches may bend, but the trunk is unmoved. This is the image of a wise person in the face of worldly winds. When you cling to praise, you fear blame. When you chase fame, you dread obscurity. When you crave pleasure, you resist pain. But if you recognize them as winds, passing, impermanent, you can stand calm in the middle. The winds are not the problem. Clinging to them is. Each night, reflect on your day. Write down one event and classify it. Was it gain or loss, praise or blame, pleasure or pain, fame or obscurity? Then remind yourself, it is just wind, it will pass. Over time, you become the oak, not the leaf. Number 4, you cannot control other people's minds. Here's a liberating truth. No matter what you do, someone will misunderstand you. Even great musicians are booed. Even saints are mocked. Even the Buddha, awakened, compassionate, was accused and slandered. If he could not escape criticism, how can we? Imagine a violinist playing in a busy street. Some stop and weep at the beauty. Others hurry past, annoyed by the noise. The music is the same, only perceptions differ. This is the nature of human judgment. It says more about the listener than the player. Trying to control opinions is like trying to hold water in your fist. The tighter you grasp, the quicker it slips away. Next time you feel anxious about someone's judgment, pause, whisper to yourself, I cannot control this, and that is freedom. Number 5, practical letting go. Philosophy alone won't save you. Practice is essential. 1. Mindfulness of thoughts when criticism arises. Watch it as you would a cloud passing across the sky. 2. Contemplating impermanence. Today's fan is tomorrow's critic. Let both pass. 3. Loving kindness, metta, instead of craving love, generated. Send goodwill to yourself, friends, strangers, even those who wound you. 4. Living by dharma, not opinion. Ask daily, am I aligned with wisdom and compassion? If yes, then no judgment can derail you. A flower blooms not to impress the bees, but simply because blooming is its nature. Be the flower. Spend 10 minutes tonight in loving kindness meditation. Start with yourself. May I be safe. May I be free from fear. May I live with ease. Then extend to someone who judged you harshly. Feel the grip loosen. Number 6, facing criticism with courage. Criticism will come. What matters is how you meet it. Pause before reacting. This tiny gap is freedom. Examine calmly. Is there truth here? If yes, thank the critic as your teacher. If not, let the words fall like rain on a waterproof coat. Remember, people's words often mirror their wounds. A bitter tongue comes from a bitter heart. Seeing this breeds compassion, not anger. A crying child throws a toy in anger. Do you take it personally, or do you see the pain behind the action? Adults are the same. When criticized, ask yourself, will this matter in 10 years? If not, breathe it out. Part 7, Authentic Living. Performing for approval is one of the heaviest invisible burdens a person can carry. When we live this way, every day feels like a stage. We put on masks, we step into roles, and we bend ourselves into shapes designed to please others. Yet the more we perform, the more exhausted we become, and the further we drift from who we truly are. Real freedom is not found in the number of people who applaud us. It is found in the quiet courage to live in harmony with our own nature. Authenticity does not require decoration. It is not dramatic. It is the simple, steady alignment of heart, speech, and action. When what we feel, what we say, and what we do move together as one, a natural ease arises. This ease is magnetic. It draws people in, not because we are trying, but because the truth is always compelling. Imagine a small bird in the forest at dawn. The first rays of sunlight are only just slipping through the leaves, and the world is still hushed. The bird opens its beak and sings. There is no audience, no applause, no praise, and yet it sings because singing is its nature. That is why its song feels so pure. We too have this capacity. When we stop trying to live for the approval of others, when we let go of the fear of judgment, our own voice begins to sing. And in that moment, we do not become less, we become whole. The world does not need more performances. It longs for what is real, even when it is imperfect, even when it is simple. Authentic living does not mean blurting out every thought or acting without care. In the Buddhist path, truth is always paired with kindness and wisdom. To be authentic is not to be reckless, it is to be aligned. It is to walk through the world without splitting ourselves between who we are and who we think others want us to be. Authenticity is a light that shines from within. Others may not remember your exact words, but they will always remember how it felt to be with you. They may not recall the details of your story, but they will never forget the sincerity of your presence. That is something no performance can imitate. Do one small act of kindness without telling anyone. Pour a glass of water for a colleague. Leave a note of encouragement. Offer a silent blessing to a loved one. And keep it quiet. Let no one know. Then notice how it feels in your chest. That quiet warmth, that private joy, is the taste of authenticity. It is happiness that does not depend on being seen. When you live this way, you discover that the joy of being real far outweighs the exhaustion of performing. And once you have tasted that freedom, you will not want to go back. Number 8, refuge in what endures. The Buddha once said, "Be a lamp unto yourself. Take refuge in the Dharma, not in anything else." Refuge does not mean running away from life. It means remembering where to stand when the storms of opinion rage around you. When praise lifts you up and blame pulls you down, you need an anchor deeper than reputation. The Buddha called this anchor the three jewels: the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. The Buddha is the reminder that awakening is possible, that human beings, with all our flaws, can touch profound peace. The Dharma is the truth of reality, that all things are impermanent, that clinging brings suffering, and that letting go brings freedom. The Sangha is the community of fellow travelers, those who walk the path with you, who hold the lamp when your own flame flickers. Think of a lighthouse in a storm. Waves crash, winds howl, darkness surrounds the shore, but the steady beam of light shows the way home. This is what refuge feels like. It does not erase the storm, but it gives you direction within it. When we place our trust in opinions, we are like a boat tossed by the waves. When we place our trust in the three jewels, we are like a ship with deep anchors, swaying, yes, but never capsizing. Refuge means knowing that you are guided by principles greater than popularity. It means that when the world praises what is harmful and condemns what is wholesome, you still choose wisdom, compassion, and truth. Each morning, place your hand on your heart and whisper, "I take refuge in wisdom, not in opinions." Let that phrase be your compass. Then light a small candle or pause in silence and feel how even a single flame pushes back the darkness. When you do this consistently, you are reminding yourself, "I am guided, I am anchored, I am home." Number 9, death and the end of opinions. One day each of us will take our last breath, and in that moment will praise matter? Will criticism follow? No. All that will remain is the state of our heart, the love we gave, the wisdom we cultivated, the compassion we carried. Imagine a candle being gently blown out. The smoke rises for a moment, then disappears into the air. Where are the opinions now? They vanish like that smoke, ephemeral, impossible to hold. Death is not meant to frighten us, but to clarify what matters. When we remember that life is brief, we see more clearly, It is foolish to waste even a single day imprisoned by the shifting winds of other people's judgments. The Buddha encouraged the practice of maranasati, mindfulness of death, not to make us morbid, but to make us awake. When you reflect, if today were my last day, would I still care about this opinion? Most of the time, the answer is no, and in that realization, a great burden falls away. Through the lens of death, opinions lose their weight. What once seemed heavy becomes light. What once seemed urgent becomes irrelevant. Only kindness remains. Close your eyes and imagine today is your final day. Ask yourself, what one sentence would I want to be true about me? Maybe it is, I loved well. Maybe it is, I lived with honesty. Maybe it is, I learned how to let go. Now take one small step today to make that sentence real. Live so that even if this were your last day, your heart would be at peace. When we live with death in mind, life becomes lighter, gentler, and far more authentic. And in that freedom, opinions no longer chain us. They pass like clouds in the wide sky, while the vastness of your true nature remains untouched. Number 10, conclusion. Dear friend, as we come to the end of this reflection, let us pause and remember the heart of today's journey. Opinions rise and fade, applause and criticism both dissolve, yet what endures is the truth of how we live. Authenticity, kindness, and wisdom, these are the treasures that no one can give or take away. This is the essence of letting go, to no longer measure ourselves by shifting voices, but to stand firmly in the quiet strength of the heart. Like the bird that sings at dawn, like the lighthouse that guides in storms, we are most beautiful when we simply live true to our nature. If these words have brought you a moment of peace, let them continue their journey. Share this teaching with someone who might need it. Leave your own reflection below so others may learn from your path. And if you wish to keep walking together in this circle of wisdom, I warmly invite you to subscribe to Infinite Buddhist Teachings, so that, step by step, we can nurture this freedom not alone but side by side. Until then, may you walk gently, live truthfully, and be free.